Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're analysing the Halo 5 Forerunner intel sets and looking at any hints that it might be giving us towards Halo 6's story. So I'm just going to go through each piece in a chronological order and just analyse it bit by bit. If you do enjoy, please do not hesitate to leave a like on this video. So the intel, if you haven't heard any of it yet, is left by a Forerunner builder on Genesis and also on St. Helios, who is searching for an unknown entity named Bastion. He leaves 4 sets of intel, each set with a different name and theme: Search, Echoes, Threat, and Alive.
I turn to the possibility of the domain. However, there is corruption. The source untraceable. Investigations, but no returns. Time runs short.
What you just heard was the first piece of intel. Now, one of the most important things said is in reference to the domain, there is corruption. The source, untraceable. Now, as you can imagine, the first thing this made me think is Flood. Whenever the word corruption is used in the Halo universe, the Flood tend to be trailing not too far behind, and also it would make sense. For one, it'd explain how Cortana had the logic plague in Halo 5, she got it from the domain. It could also explain how the domain repaired after being damaged by the firing of the Halo array during the Forerunner Flood War. Floods still do exist to repair it, just not in this galaxy, at least en masse, so there's a possibility they repaired it from a different galaxy entirely. It is a faint possibility, granted, but it's still a possibility.
Acquisition of endurance proved difficult in these final days, and Ancilla has agreed to aid my efforts, yet there is concern if he will carry through. However, if Bastion has indeed achieved the impossible, I must find a way of reaching them. If that path be through death and domain, so be it.
Okay, so for those who don't know what endurance is a tool that's used to store a person's memories and personality. It's also used to store the essences of Promethean Knights. Now, what's interesting is, why does the builder need endurance? It could be that whatever or whomever is inside Bastion needs the essences of living things for study or for something else entirely. The librarian, maybe? What's also really interesting is the Ancilla the builder inquires. It's a he. Now, I have a really wild, crazy theory on this. Could it maybe be Black Box? He's probably the only significant male AI that we know about, and he is absolute leagues above the rest in terms of intelligence, especially considering he's used on highly confidential only black operations, such as in Hunt the Truth. Now, I know that is a really far-fetched theory, but I guess it doesn't hurt to speculate. The builder then goes on to say he must find a way to reach Bastion, but he refers to it as them. Now, this is huge. It could mean that Bastion isn't a facility, more a collective of living Forerunners or something else entirely. He also says that if he has to reach them via death and domain, so be it. The fact that he links death and domain together is really interesting. It could mean that the domain is almost like a conduit to Bastion, and that the builder needs endurance to transmit his memories and personality into the domain to access Bastion.
Bastion is absent, not destroyed, simply missing. No other facility is near enough. A new course of action is required.
So this piece of intel suggests that the builder needs to find Bastion, or a similar facility that can provide the same properties as Bastion. I'll cover this in far more detail in tomorrow's Bastion video, but my theory is that Bastion acted as an almost safe haven from the Halo rings and or the Flood. If this is true, and the builder needs to find something that's similar to Bastion and that can act as a safe haven, it means something's coming. This something cannot be Cortana firing the Halo array, because at this point in the game, the builder doesn't even know that Cortana exists. My money is on him knowing of the Precursor's final test, and knowing that with the current state of the galaxy, it's imminent. Like Halo 6 imminent.
Bastion's location is confirmed. How though? After dispersal of the Halos, an impossible act of reconciliation would be required. It may still be possible.
So here he talks about an impossible act of reconciliation being required after the dispersal of the Halos. Why? Now, this I honestly can't quite understand. Did the builder betray Bastion by personally dispersing the Halos? Maybe there's a reason Bastion, or whoever's in it, didn't want the Halos dispersed. If it contains the remaining Forerunners, They likely didn't want to witness the destruction caused by them that they witnessed before during the Forerunner Flood War. Maybe in Halo 6 they'll come into play in the galaxy and attempt to almost side with humanity and stop Cortana from attaining them. It's a possibility.
It is time. I go now. To Bastion. Where am I? Is this domain? Designation Genesis. How? Where is Bastion?
So here we have the builder thinking he's travelling to Bastion, yet he ends up on Genesis. Now, considering Bastion seems to be of great importance for the future of the created story arc, it really would not surprise me if we went back to Genesis in Halo 6, or if at least some of the story was set there. Also, when he mistakes being in the domain for being on Genesis, it instantly gave me a vision of this place that the breaking is set on. That's supposed to be on Genesis, but to me, the breaking always felt like it was set in the domain. From the weird background to the almost sort of digital skybox, it never really felt like it could be a location on Genesis, at least to me.
Communications few. Constructed network picking up echoes. Confusing.
Now, what is interesting here is that the builder is picking up echoes of Bastion on the constructor network, which could mean that Bastion is in fact on Genesis. This is even further evidence that Genesis could actually be a lot more important for Halo 6 than we previously expected.
Organon gone. Domain burned. Damaged. So many lost. Missing.
Now this is a really interesting piece of intel. The organon and the domain are actually the same thing, so why is the builder referring to them as different things? More so that the organon is gone, but the domain is just damaged. If we've been deceived thus far, and they are in fact two different things, or the organon is maybe just an extension of the domain or something, then who took it? If the organon is truly missing, then I can most certainly see it being used for something absolutely catastrophic in the future. Maybe even in Halo 6, considering the wealth of knowledge that it holds.
The Warden made a pact. With whom? How does he walk once more? Ancilla knew. How? She reassembles. She cures herself. Soon. Domain.
There's nothing too much here, just the builder encountering Cortana for the first time in the domain and seeing her heal from rampancy. He also states that the Warden walks once more, which suggests that he was killed or something similar in the past. I have a feeling we'll get a little backstory on the Warden actually in Halo Fractures, which is coming out later this month.
The Guardians. She sees them. She understands. Stop her.
She understands the Guardians. Stop her. This could just be the builder recoiling at the thought of Cortana imprisoning the galaxy, but to me, it sounds like they have a far more sinister use that we really aren't aware of yet. If so, you can absolutely bet your bottom dollar that that use will come into fruition in Halo 6.
The Ancilla. She knows I'm here. She hunts me. Bastion. Construct a network under Warden control. Control can be taken back. External, though. The monitor could help if only I could speak to her.
In these three pieces of intel, the builder begins being hunted by Cortana in the domain, and then he also states that he needs constructor control back. Now this could be to help him access Bastion, if it is actually on or inside Genesis. If this is the case, given that Exuberant Witness has control over the constructors again, if we do go back to Genesis in Halo 6, we should have control over the constructors from the get-go, which means that if we need to access Bastion, it should be relatively simple.
Bastion. Ancilla distracted. Warden as well. Domain repairing. Healing. I feel clear for the first time in there. Finally I see. After so long. Bastion still lives.
And in the final two pieces of intel, the builder finally sees Bastion through the domain and accesses it, but before so, he says that the domain is healing. This means that it was still damaged throughout the entirety of Halo 5, and it still is. It's just actually actively repairing now. If the domain fully repairs in Halo 6, then Cortana could get her hands on some pretty big information that may not have been there previously. More so, who or what exactly is repairing it? And where are they? This could support my theory that the domain is being controlled and repaired by the Flood, as it would explain why there's corruption in the domain, and why Cortana may have the Logic Plague. And that's going to do it for today, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Please don't forget to leave a comment down below with your theories on this topic and theories on Halo 6 in general. I really love hearing everyone's different interpretations on both my theories and the future of this story arc, seeing as it's such an open-ended one as of now. Tomorrow I'm going to have a video discussing Bastion, and I really think I have an absolutely solid theory on what it actually is. I'll see you then.